On World News Tonight, American commanders say U.S. forces are doing well on the ground. But U.S. troops run into serious resistance from Iraqis. Americans are killed and captured. How to protect the U.S. rear? The U.S. is advancing so quickly. The cost of war is being felt at home. There is nothing bloodless about it.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight, Sunday, with Peter Jennings.
Good evening, everyone. It has been a difficult day in the war with Iraq for Iraqis and Americans, too. The U.S. second-in-command said right at the beginning of his briefing today that the U.S. is making good progress. But the U.S. has encountered the strongest resistance since the war began. The Pentagon can only estimate, as of now, that 10 to 15 Americans have been killed. The principal fighting has been in Basra and Qasr in the very south, and in and near the city of Nasiriyah, a little more than 200 miles south of Baghdad. About 1,000 Marines are involved in the Nasiriyah fighting. We're told that 50 Marines were wounded and have been evacuated. 12 American soldiers were taken prisoner by the Iraqis near Nasiriyah today, one of them a woman. The pictures of them in Iraqi custody and other pictures of what look very much like dead American soldiers have been seen widely throughout the world, including in Iraq. The Bush administration has said very forcefully this violates the Geneva Convention governing the treatment for prisoners of war, and the president of ABC News has decided not to broadcast the pictures at this time. President Bush returned to the White House from Camp David today, and he said briefly that the war might not be brief.
It is evident that it's going to take a while to achieve our objective, but we're on course, we're determined, and we're making good progress.
At the headquarters today in the region of the Central Command, the Deputy Commander, General John Abizaid, gave the world's press a briefing. ABC's Martha Raddatz listened to it all. Martha?
Peter, this was by far the toughest day of fighting the U.S. military has seen. Several dead, several captured, and many wounded.
The sharpest and most sustained battles were in Nasiriyah, where a firefight raged for hours. U.S. combat troops had defeated an Iraqi force in Nasiriyah yesterday, but faced a new and far tougher challenge today.
It was a combination of irregular forces and regular forces. As a matter of fact, one of the few times that we've seen regular forces fight. And it's difficult for me to characterize it right now as whether or not they could have been special Republican Guard units.
The dead and wounded who were recovered were medevaced out of the area. ABC's Kevin Garvin watched the evacuation.
7 Marines were brought here earlier.
But that was only one of many firefights today. Just north of Nasiriyah is where a convoy of Army vehicles was ambushed. 4 were wounded and later rescued. Others were not so fortunate.
There were 12 soldiers from the ambushed convoy that could not be accounted for. We believe them to be in the custody of the irregular forces that conducted the ambush, and their status is not known.
Of the 12 who were ambushed, 5 were later interviewed as POWs on Iraqi TV. One young man lying prone on a mat, injured and shaking as he spoke. There was also grisly video of dead bodies, believed to be soldiers from the same Army unit. The bodies were laid out in a stark room. The Iraqis showed close-ups of faces and bloody wounds.
I regard the showing of those pictures as absolutely unacceptable. The pictures were disgusting.
There was also fierce fighting in Qasr today, with U.S. forces battling some stiff resistance from Iraqi holdouts. And the U.S. acknowledged its first incidents of friendly fire, a U.S. Patriot missile accidentally bringing down a British Air Force jet, killing the 2 crew members.
The Pentagon is not really certain of how many were killed today or how many injured. Peter, as General Abizaid said, early figures are often wrong.
Thanks. You tell us something about communications, too. Thanks, Martha. It's a long way from the unit to the Pentagon. The U.S. bombing in Baghdad continued for a fourth day. There are a very large number of important targets in the Baghdad region. We can only make an assessment basically of what we see today, not the targets that are out of sight. Even the Iraqi ambassador to the United Nations says he has been out of touch with his government since the war began. ABC's Richard Engel told us today that those pictures of American prisoners of war have been on Iraqi television all day.
Peter, Iraqi state television repeatedly broadcast the images of dead American soldiers and prisoners. The basic message was, President Bush and Prime Minister Tony Blair, look closely at these pictures because this is what's going to happen if you keep sending forces into Iraq. Iraq's defense minister went on to say that the prisoners would be treated according to the Geneva Convention. Iraqi forces were also searching for more prisoners today after a witness reported seeing a pilot parachuting from the sky and landing in the Tigris River. At one point, Iraqi forces started to shoot into reeds where they thought the pilot might be hiding, and no one, however, was found. And tonight there was more bombing, most of it outside of Baghdad, but also some targets, including the Republican Palace, was bombed again right in the middle of the city. Iraq says that the United States and the British forces are targeting mainly civilian targets, like this house that journalists were taken to in a neighborhood in Baghdad. There was a crater in the middle, and about 5 homes were badly damaged around it. Peter?
Thank you, Richard Engel. In Baghdad all the time. The White House said today that President Bush plans to maintain a very public schedule this week, and all the events will be war-related. ABC's Terry Moran is at the White House. Terry?
Peter, this is a president, aides say, who is very conscious that part of his role as commander-in-chief is to educate and reassure the public about the war. And today, returning from Camp David on a day when the grim realities of war began to hit home, the president offered a positive progress report, but no illusions to the American public. In his first exchange with reporters since the war began, the president was blunt about the road ahead.
This is just the beginning of a tough fight.
Asked about American POWs in Iraq, Mr. Bush issued a warning.
The POWs I expect to be treated humanely, just like we're treating prisoners that we have captured humanely. If not, the people who mistreat the prisoners will be treated as war criminals.
But overall, the president echoed his military commander's upbeat assessment of the course of the war.
We're slowly but surely taking control of that country so that we can free the people of Iraq and eventually clear that country of weapons of mass destruction.
One major accomplishment, the president said, the seizure of southern Iraq oil fields. But on a day when casualties mounted, the commander-in-chief also spoke of the fallen.
I pray for God's comfort and God's healing powers to anybody, coalition, force, American, Brit, anybody who loses a life.
This week, the president will begin to show his cards on the cost of the war in dollar terms, meeting with members of Congress. And he will also, Peter, we are told, likely travel somewhere to meet families of military members serving overseas.
Thanks, Terry. Terry Moran at the White House. We'll say again what we say all the time. We know that we are seeing only part of what is happening on the battlefield. A number of American units are said to be advancing rapidly toward Baghdad, which leads some military analysts to question whether enough attention is being paid to shoring up the rear. Here's ABC's Barry Serafin.
The focus of troops racing northward is Baghdad, not towns and cities along the way.
The policy has been really to bypass most of these areas.
That has left U.S. forces in the rear, still trading fire with guerrillas and paramilitary units.
There are also some fanatics who will remove their uniforms and become masquerade as civilians and still shoot at us.
The fighting in Qasr and other areas initially bypassed has been fierce at times.
There's great potential for significant combat and significant casualties.
General Bill Nash was the U.S. military administrator of a portion of southern Iraq immediately after the 1991 Gulf War. He strongly supports the current dash toward Baghdad, but worries about troop reinforcements and humanitarian aid in rear areas.
That is my greatest single concern, is that they will not be there soon enough.
That would worsen the plight of already desperate Iraqi civilians left behind in southern cities.
My children is hungry. My old man hungry. My women hungry. Where is no medicine, no water, no food?
For now, southern Iraq remains uneasy and dangerous for both U.S. forces and the people still there. Barry Saraf, ABC News, Washington.
General Nash is not the only one worried about the rear. We're joined by retired Lieutenant General Gregory Newbold, former commander of the Marines, 1st Division. We've talked about this a lot, General Newbold. Those prisoners today from a maintenance unit, at least one of them said they were, does that mean they're less well protected than combat troops?
Well, Peter, obviously they don't have the organization, training, and equipment of a frontline combat unit. They do get training, and they do have individual weapons and machine guns, but any fight in the rear is going to be a tough one.
Do you think that with much of the Army and the Marines moving as quickly as they are, this is a general weakness in the rear? We've heard other commanders say so.
Well, it's a very aggressive plan, as you know, Peter, and as we discussed when we were in Kuwait, which counts on a bold move to Baghdad. And it uncovers a large area of Iraq in which massive amounts of our supplies have to move. And those convoys and the trucks, the helicopters, the planes bringing in those huge amounts of supplies don't have the protection of the frontline combat units, and that means that to a degree there's risk involved always in the rear.
Thank you, General Newbold, very much. We do not know exactly how many American soldiers have been killed or captured, as we said. The Pentagon estimates that 10 to 15 Americans were killed today, and 8 others have been previously killed in combat or in an accident, and 16 British soldiers, to the best of our knowledge, have been killed, but that's all we've heard about. Now, there are 2 notes from Afghanistan today. A U.S. Air Force helicopter crashed southwest of Kabul, killing all 6 people on board. Officials say hostile fire was not involved, and the helicopter was taking part in a medical transfer. They wouldn't say if it was involved with the Army's ongoing hunt for members of al-Qaeda and the Afghanistan's Taliban. And the government of Afghanistan said today that 19 prisoners were being held, or who had been held, at the U.S. Navy base in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, have been released. The administration has been criticized by human rights activists for refusing to extend protections afforded under the Geneva Convention to about 600 prisoners at Guantanamo Bay. When we come back this evening, the grenade attack on the 101st Airborne in Kuwait. A report today from the division's home in Kentucky. And on this Sunday, across the country, what Americans were doing and thinking about the war.
I'm up, but this arthritis pain.
The moment of choice. Tylenol or Advil? What do you take for arthritis pain?
Advil's the choice for me.
Truth is, only Advil liquid gels give you advanced liquid-filled capsules. Can't get that from Tylenol. Advil liquid gels rush long-lasting relief where you need it, and it's gentle on your stomach. For fast relief, advance to Advil.
I wanted to know.
I had H&R Block double-check last year's tax return. Free.
They found over $2,000 my CPA missed.
I got $1,000. It's my money. I want it back.
It's your turn. Take the free H&R Block Double Check Challenge.
When you run a restaurant, you're only serving one thing, taste. That's why I use Equal. There's no aftertaste like with some sweeteners. You like rich, creamy cheesecake? I make it with Equal. I love it. 0-calorie Equal. Have you tried it lately?
Mr. Goodwrench, who is this one and only GM expert? I gotta find this guy. You're Mr. Goodwrench.
Yep.
Which means you use genuine GM parts.
Well, actually, we all do.
Now you're just trying to throw me. Mr. Goodwrench had over 1 million hours of GM training last year?
That's right.
Doesn't leave much time for Mrs. Goodwrench now, does it?
Find Mr. Goodwrench at over 7,000 GM dealerships nationwide.
If Mr. Goodwrench were a tool, what kind of tool would he be?
A wrench?
Ooh, sorry. Miter saw is what we were looking for. Miter saw.
The Strauss Potting Shed, where good hands go to get dirty. Check this out. When these marigolds were potted, they were the same size. Did this one get more sun? More water? No. The difference? This. Miracle-Gro potting mix. Premium organic materials plus just the right amount of Miracle-Gro plant food mixed in. Miracle-Gro potting mix is so much richer than ordinary potting soil. Plants grow twice as big. Have you used Miracle-Gro lately?
In Kuwait today, Army officials said the soldier accused of attacking his commanding officers in Kuwait with grenades had been having an attitude problem and was probably motivated by resentment. One soldier died in the attack and 15 others were injured. ABC's Don Dahler was at a nearby camp where the soldiers were profoundly disturbed by what they heard.
Most of the soldiers at Camp New York, Kuwait have no access to television or the internet, but word spread of the grenade attack.
I couldn't believe it, how somebody like that would enlist in our military and actually do something against his own people like that.
It's a darn crime against every soldier who signed up for this country and signs up to serve his country and is out here. That is the worst thing anyone could possibly do.
But during the various religious services today, the focus was not on the apparent betrayal.
Oh, we don't understand it all, Lord God, but we know that you do.
But on the injured and the dead of the 1st Brigade, very much their brothers.
Despite the injuries to key leadership of that brigade, ABC News has learned that has not changed the battle plan for the 101st.
These units of the 2nd Brigade are only days, in some cases maybe hours away from moving into Iraq. As warplanes lace the skies overhead, the alleged fragging incident is perhaps the only thing that could have taken their minds off the war. Don Dahler, ABC News, Camp New York, Kuwait.
The 101st Airborne, when it is not overseas, is based at Fort Campbell in Kentucky. You can imagine what was going on down there today. ABC's Barbara Pinto has been there for much of the day. I assume, Barbara, it's a combination of shock and anger.
There is, Peter, and also out-and-out patriotism. This rally in support of the troops just popped up behind us a few minutes ago. People standing in support, but beneath all of that patriotism, there is quite a good deal of shock and anger at the thought could come from within. All around town today, we got the same sentiment from people here that it is difficult enough to be in a military town at a time of war, let alone deal with the prospect of betrayal.
Tell me, what do his friends, his families, his colleagues, if you've met any of them, what do they seem to know about this man?
Well, at a military press conference today, they identified him as Hassan Akbar, but people here at Fort Campbell knew him as Mark Cools. He's 31 years old, he's from California, and his stepfather told us today that he is a lifelong Muslim. And we don't know. There are conflicting reports as to whether or not that may have played a part in all this. His stepfather also told us that his younger brother received an early discharge from the Air Force after September 11th, citing difficulties because of his Muslim faith, also racism and harassment. We do know that he has not been charged, and if so, he will be brought back here to Fort Campbell.
Thanks,
Peter?
Barbara. Barbara Pinto at Fort Campbell in Kentucky. Still ahead on the broadcast, the demonstrations against the war and to support the war in the streets of America today.
New Lemon Twist V8 juice has a refreshing squeeze of lemon. It's another way to get your full serving of vegetables. Sometimes it's the only way. New Lemon Twist V8.
Introducing new 3-in-1 pillar candles from Glade. Starlit Garden has 3 individual fragrance layers. Moonflower, Lemon Lily, and Jade Orchid, each designed to blend beautifully from one scent to the next, so you can enjoy 3 spellbinding fragrances in one enchanting candle. New Glade 3-in-1 candles, because 3 scents are better than 1.
That was me. What a stiff. Back then, my achy joints made it hard for me to get around. So I tried OsteoBiflex. OsteoBiflex has helped so many renew their joints and their lives. It's different from pain relievers. It safely lubricates joints and rebuilds cartilage. So over time, you're more flexible and comfortable. OsteoBiflex from Rexall. Put some life back in your joints.
Some mornings I was so constipated I could hardly make my deliveries. This one little pill changed my mornings. New X-Lax Ultra. Guaranteed relief by 8 a.m. means now my mornings are ultra good.
New X-Lax Ultra for ultra good mornings.
In the future, everyone's glasses will automatically adjust to changing light and block out harmful UV rays that can damage the eyes. But for those with transitions lenses, the future is already here. Ask your eye care professional. Because the danger is real now, and so is the protection. Transitions.
Imagine combining the stain-fighting power of Efferdent and freshening power of Listerine. You'd get Efferdent Plus. It's extra fresh, and nothing gets your dentures cleaner. Efferdent Clean, Listerine Fresh. That's Efferdent Plus.
Inside every can of Minwax is the secret to enhancing wood's natural beauty. Minwax's rich wood stains and long-lasting protective finishes make it easy to turn any house into a beautiful home. Minwax makes and keeps wood beautiful.
And now to the home front. Americans continue to be divided about the war. We know that. With that in mind, and in the shadow of today's setbacks overseas, we asked ABC's Bill Redeker to cover this Sunday.
USA! USA! From a pro-war rally in New York City, to a church service in California, to a snowbound Denver, suddenly the realization that war really is hell.
Well, it's not going the way I expected, no.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really rough going. I mean, a lot of people are going to die, and I think something, really bad's going to happen before it's all over.
Now that the early televised images of a seemingly bloodless attack have given way to the ugly reality of combat, many say it's not at all what they expected.
I expected pretty much no competition.
Instead of just being a quick cleanup, it might actually be very long, and it scared me.
In the military community of Fort Bliss, Texas, where soldiers were told that some of their own were being held as prisoners of war, the new reality was not easy to accept.
I'm scared. I'm hoping that he comes home fine. I'm scared to be alone.
Polls indicate that nearly 2/3 of Americans still support the war. But the military and the administration have always been concerned that as soon as it got ugly, that support could quickly erode. In the mountain town of Issaquah, Washington, resignation but support.
Now that we're in it, it's not like we can back out of it.
In Dallas, a veteran of World War II offers the wisdom of having been there before.
The worst is yet to come.
4 days after it began, this living room war is becoming a lot more difficult to watch. Bill Redeker, ABC News, Denver.
And now let's move to the coverage of the war in other places. Covering a war in the first place is very difficult, and it doesn't look the same way on every television set. ABC's Mike Lee reports from overseas.
Television coverage of the war in Iraq is mesmerizing the public worldwide.
Every single channel you turn to is something to do with the war.
You can't avoid it. It's on 24 hours a day.
From Italy, France, and Germany. The same spectacular images of bombs, battles, and brutality. And in many countries, the coverage is a good deal tougher on the Bush White House.
Was it a big lie or just a cover to justify your invasion of Iraq?
The European media, they are often more critical about this war. So the audience in Europe and in Germany is often more interested in this casualties, in civilian casualties, than maybe the American people.
Another major difference between U.S. and foreign coverage of the war, most European television stations today aired those disturbing pictures of captured and killed American soldiers in Iraq. In some cases, the faces of the U.S. troops were electronically blocked out.
The way the public sees this war varies very much from country to country, from region to region. In continental Europe, I think there is even greater skepticism. In the UK, there is some.
American tanks and armored vehicles.
The whole world may be watching the same war, but foreigners are often getting a different view. Mike Lee, ABC News, London.
Just one other note, in very strong contrast to all that, it won't be long tonight before the Oscar program begins. They've told us it will be different than other years. We'll see. This will not be the first Academy Award ceremony held at a time of war, including World War II. Naturally, the security will be very tight. Back in just a moment.
There's so much beauty to drink in. Don't let your eyes feeling dry, gritty, irritated stop you from enjoying it. Your eyes deserve better. They deserve Refresh brand eye drops. They're what doctors recommend most. First, Refresh relieves and soothes dry eyes, then forms a lasting shield of protection that keeps irritation out and natural moisture in. And since more doctors recommend Refresh, the choice is clear. Refresh for relief that's fast and protection that lasts.
Trying to beat cigarettes? Having trouble sleeping? You're probably using Nicoderm. Just read their label. The new step-down patch from Nicotrol was designed to let you sleep. And with new Nicotrol, you're twice as likely to quit than with cold turkey. New Nicotrol in the blue box.
Introducing a new overnight laxative, Freelax. These contain stimulants that can jolt your system and cause cramps. Freelax is different. It's stimulant-free and cramp-free. It's new, different. It's Freelax. Overnight relief without cramps. Freelax.
Only new Oust air sanitizer kills odor-causing bacteria in the air.
I mostly sprayed Lysol in the air. I thought Lysol was an air sanitizer.
It's true. Lysol works on surfaces, but it's not meant for the air. Only Oust air sanitizer kills 99.9% of odor-causing bacteria in the air.
My daughter Carly is like a tomboy, and her clothes are stinky and gross. Little spray. Right away, it smells great. Just fresh.
Get odor-causing bacteria out with new Oust air sanitizer. S.C. Johnson, a family company.
Oust gets rid of the odors, doesn't mask the odors.
If you've had a heart attack or a stroke, the last thing you need is another one sneaking up on you.
Smile.
After all, you've got better things to do. I know. In my case, I had a heart attack. Then I heard about Plavix, so I asked my doctor. He told me Plavix is a prescription pill that can help protect you from a heart attack or a stroke if you've recently had one. Or if you have poor circulation in the legs causing pain.
Plavix is proven to help keep blood platelets from sticking together and forming clots, which helps keep your blood flowing. This can help protect you from another heart attack or stroke. If you have a medical condition that is causing bleeding, such as a stomach ulcer, you should not use Plavix. Side effects include itching, rash, diarrhea, and bruising. Additional rare but serious side effects could occur. Ask your doctor.
Taking Plavix once a day helps protect me.
Find out if Plavix can help protect you from another heart attack or stroke.
5, 6, 7, 8. The 5 best movies of the year in the Ultimate Showdown.
Keep your paws off.
Challenge accepted.
That is what we do.
You must fight.
Can't take my chances.
Only one will take home Oscar. The Academy Awards Live, ABC tonight.
Just a brief review of the day's main stories. U.S. officials say today was the toughest day of resistance so far. There's some good news for the British. British troops have now captured, we are told, completely the Fa Peninsula in the south. Elsewhere in the country, 12 American soldiers have been taken prisoner around the southern city of Nasiriyah. Overseas television pictures have shown the POWs as well as what appear to be U.S. soldiers who have been killed. They were certainly seen in Iraq. The Bush administration says it violates the Geneva Convention governing treatment for prisoners of war. There will be an ABC News special on the coverage of the war in Iraq to continue at 7 p.m. Eastern and following the Oscars. I hope you'll join us then. I'm Peter Jennings. Good night.
Monday, 2 lawyers, 2 serial killers. It will all lead to the murder of one woman. Where is she? An all-new Practice, ABC Monday.
We're there every day
for America's public school children.
getting them to and from school,
Helping them learn.
making them nutritious meals.
Keeping them safe.
Pointing them in the right direction.
We do what it takes to help
Teachers teach and children learn. We are education support professionals. Members of the National
Education Association.
And we're
working to make public schools great for every child.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag.
of the United States of America.
And to the republic for which it stands.
One nation.
One nation.
under God,
Indivisible.
Liberty.
with liberty and justice for all.
From the beaches of Normandy to the sands of Desert Storm, the bitter winters of Korea, the jungles of Vietnam, and the mountains of Afghanistan, all stand witness to the courage and sacrifice of Americans who have served at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Our challenge is to preserve and share stories of these brave men and women. Help us build a showcase to American patriotism, the Wings of Liberty Military Museum, to honor those who have served, to educate, and to inspire future generations. Please support this endeavor.
WKRN.com is News 2 online. If you see it on News 2, you'll find it on WKRN.com.
With just a click of the mouse, you can see the news come to life on the web with video streaming. Just click the video icon and watch the news online. News 2 at WKRN.com. First, fast, accurate. WKRN.com internet and web services provided by ISDN Net. When your business needs DSL, T1 co-location